Hey, Romancing the Pod fam, let me start out by just apologizing for the audio quality of this ad you're about to listen to. I'm recording this the day I get married. Literally, I will be marrying Natalie in T-minus 2 hours and 43 minutes from now. And I am so excited to be doing it because it gives me the opportunity to give you the opportunity to give Natalie and Paige and I like a wedding gift. And Paige is actually on her 5-year anniversary trip. So you can justify this as like you're doing us an anniversary and wedding gift favor. And that favor would be to help us get to know you better. Because, this is a podcast. We have ads on the podcast. You know how it works. I'm not going to play dumb to you guys. You're smart. You know what's up. But we want to improve that experience and engage with advertisers that you actually might care about, right? So in order to do that, we need you to fill out a quick audience survey so that we can get to know you better. That survey is at gum.fm, not com, gum.fm/romancingthepod. That's where you go to fill out the audience survey. That's gum.fm/romancingthepod. You guys know what to spell, right? I don't know why they wanted me to spell it for you, but there you go. Guys, I have to go put my suit on and get on the beach because I'm about to marry a beautiful lady. But thank you so much in advance for doing the audience survey. I really appreciate it. Seriously, it's really helpful.
Let your imagination soar with Audible. With stories across every genre, from expert advice to fantasy, you'll be inspired to imagine new worlds, possibilities, and ways of thinking. Listening can even lead to a positive change in your mood, habits, and overall well-being. As an Audible member, you'll get to choose one title a month to keep from their entire catalog, including bestsellers and new releases. Allow yourself to delve into the spooky this season by listening to classics like Stephen King's The Shining and Pet Sematary. There's more to imagine when you listen. New members can try Audible free for 30 days. Visit audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500. That's audible.com/imagine or text imagine to 500-500.
You better not have no plans tonight.
Movie time and it's feeling right.
You're looking for a love that lasts.
Find it at Romancing the Podcast.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you had me at hello. Ooh, I love you.
I know.
Ooh, ooh, baby, you're the wind beneath my wings. Ooh, I'll have what she's having.
Thank you for tuning into Romancing the Pod. You had us at hello. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd. And I guess we're just not doing last names today.
You know who we are, bitches.
Come
on. Know.
Anyway, it's always going to be a crazy episode when we come out of the gate yelling, but I don't know how to respond when Paige made us watch
A Beautiful Wedding. What a beautiful wedding.
What a beautiful wedding, said Dylan to his wife. Isn't it Dylan? It's the spruce, right? It's the D spruce?
He's fully sproused.
Sproused.
Sprouse. Twins.
Activate?
Yeah, it is Dylan Sprouse.
Nailed it.
That is impressive.
Not really. I just watched the movie, Paige. Like, I just watched it.
Todd, I'm here to tell you that I just watched the movie, and I don't even know where I am right now. That's how boggling this movie is.
So, Paige, first off,
you're welcome.
I don't know how I couldn't love this movie.
No, for sure.
But I also kind of want my life back. Like, I don't
Same.
know how I feel. There are elements of this movie that are so over the top and insane that, you sort of just laugh at it. It's sort of like, I think you should leave on some level.
Yes. It is so cringe.
Yes. I think this movie hates itself. And I love it for that. I don't know how else to say it other than that.
I know exactly what you're getting at. And I also don't really know how to describe it, because at a certain point I was like, how is this movie so much better and so much worse than the last one? And at a certain point, because there is no clear structure to this film.
No.
At all.
No.
At all. And so at a certain point I was like, how long is this? How long have I been watching this?
I know. It's like you get sucked into a time warp.
Yes. And then I looked at it and I was like, this is barely a movie, like based on the time.
Paige, I think it takes place over like 8 days.
Oh God, I have no idea how long this, like, I don't know how long they're in Mexico. It could be 8 days. No, it says 6 days.
But I think there are 2 days after that in the plot of the movie.
Yeah, because then they get married. Yeah. Okay, yeah, 8 days. But you could have also told me it was 3 months. And I'd be like, yeah, of course it was.
Paige, you could have told me they were 35.
Yeah.
Like when they left. I mean, it's so insane. Everything happens in every scene that's possible.
Yeah.
Like there's one scene where like they're just like walking in the jungle and then mud wrestling in the jungle. Like they find the only mud wrestling pit right by the side of the road in the jungle they were walking down. Like it's insane.
My favorite was when they were fighting in a Las Vegas hotel room and then immediate cut, no explanation, no establishing, talking to a helicopter pilot in a place that's definitely not Las Vegas.
I fully thought we were about to like invade Vietnam. I had no idea like how we got from Vegas. You should have just like played CCR and I'd have been like, oh my God, like we're going to go drop some Agent Orange and commit some like legit crimes.
Yeah, it's madness. And I was like, there has to be a scene missing because we don't even know why they're going to Mexico. It just happens.
Oh no, Paige, I know why.
I mean, we kind of get an idea, but
they're on the run.
Yeah, but nobody ever vocalizes that till it's happening already.
Well, yeah, I think that's because they assume after you watched Beautiful Disaster, you're not sleeping on the sequel. So you're like, you know what's happening.
Well, and they spent 15 minutes in the beginning of this movie recapping the last movie. And I was like, thank goodness, because I didn't remember a lot of that last movie.
Paige, it only felt like 15 minutes. It was 4 minutes because I wrote...
Shut the fuck up, really?
Yeah, because I wrote the note. This movie does a great job of recapping the first one in like 10 minutes. And then I paused it and I was like, 4 minutes? Wow. Okay, it's already... Okay.
Oh.
If time dilation is already from 4 minutes to 10 minutes, I don't know if I'm ever going to live to see my wedding.
Is this movie a witch? I don't know.
By the way, Paige, I just wanted to say, congratulations, baby. We made it. We've been like recording and working our asses off so that we could take a week off and no one would notice because everyone would still get the content they're supposed to get. And like, woo, last episode recording before you go on your 5-year anniversary trip and I get married.
I was so like, literally as I was getting ready to do this recording, I was like, oh my God, after this, it's it. Like this is the last thing I have to do.
Because you get on a plane tomorrow, right?
I get on a plane very early tomorrow morning, yes.
Yeah, I get on a plane Sunday. Ooh, the 13th.
I had like 3 different writing assignments that I like had to get done like on specific days. And so yesterday I was in studio in the morning taping a thing, and that was like the last writing assignment I had. And I got off camera where I was wrapped basically for at least for the writing portion. And I immediately grabbed a warm White Claw, not a good drink, warm, and like popped it. And Pat Barker, who was the commissioner for Roast Battle, just turned and he was like, I'd like everyone to look at their watches because Paige just started drinking at noon, which is like, for me who doesn't usually drink at all at anything, they were like, girl, it's noon. And I was like, I'm officially on vacation right now. Like, my job is done.
And believe me, these past 2 months have been a decade, guys.
Oh, God.
It's been a sprint.
But we did it.
But I'm so glad we're at the finish line, Paige. Just want to high five you virtually.
High five.
But I do think we have to talk about what I think is the craziest movie we've watched maybe ever.
It has scrambled my brain, Todd. Like, I just finished it. I don't know what happened.
Me either.
Like,
Paige, no idea.
I know I watched it. No clue.
I can tell. Can I just tell you the vibe of my notes?
Yes.
We normally don't talk about our notes vibe, and mine are usually all over the place because, you know, you take like detailed notes or jokes you want to make or whatever while you're watching the movie. Well, my second note was, oh shit, I forgot he calls her pigeon. That's weird. We can make fun of that.
That's in my notes too.
And then, Paige, the notes get like so crazy that you would think, oh, he didn't know what he was in store if he thought the pigeon thing was necessary. Like, he didn't need to dig deep on pigeon because we have like crazy shit in store.
There are far bigger issues.
Yeah, like, okay, they got married in Vegas, right? this movie sort of begins and ends with their wedding.
Yeah, kind of.
It's not like a time loop or anything. They're just like different days.
Different days.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, we got married in Vegas. And then 8 days later, we got married in Mexico. And then 16 days later, we got annulled.
Probably. I mean, I will say that I picked this because this was supposed to be Destination Wedding Weekend.
Month.
And which technically this one does have.
It does.
Yeah, month.
And Paige, they're from Sacramento. Both of the weddings featured in this movie are various destinations for them.
That's true. That is true.
I think this makes up for last week's.
It does. But my favorite part was I had at one point read the synopsis for this and then totally forgot it. And then when we picked this, I was like, I think it's a destination wedding. And then it turns out it's the destination you're going to. So this is like the perfect one.
I know. It's great.
For us to like end on right before you go. I was actually very excited about that.
I did not spend $180,000 on our honeymoon. So yeah.
I don't think they did either, to be honest. I think they've still got a cool $100,000 at the end of this movie.
You think they spent $80,000 on that place? Did they buy it, Paige?
No, I mean, I don't know what it costs, but
it would cost way more than they have. They're at a pretty nice place.
Well, if they bought it.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was just like joking. Yeah. I'm sure it's actually a very expensive place. Please don't DM me, is all I'm saying.
No. I'm sure it's actually not that expensive, but I think they're like Airbnb-ing it. But that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I think they've got like $100,000 left.
You think it's an Airbnb?
Yeah.
I thought it was like just like a traditional like B&B.
Oh, it might be.
I get, because like that guy was over there way more than any Airbnb host I've ever seen.
Well, I think he's just always there. I think he lives there. So like, I mean, and Airbnb, sometimes when you rent it, they're still there, like depending on the listing.
That's true. I mean, they could be like in the guest house in this like nice mansion-ish villa thing, right? Or whatever. Yeah.
But here's the thing, like even if it's super fancy, that's still maybe call it another $30,000 plus the $10,000 for the helicopter. Like I think this movie, oddly enough, like it reasonably explains the amount of money they're spending versus the money they have. And I think they still have money left at the end of this movie.
Oh, I'm sure they do. For some reason, the guy who they're on the run from, when he finds them, just like
lets it go.
Yeah, is just like fine with it after mud wrestling with Virginia.
Or Abby.
Wait, I'm looking at the IMDb. That's the actress's name.
I was like, her name is Abby.
Yeah, Abby Abernathy.
Yeah, because this movie also doesn't, like, it gives everyone an arc, which, first of all, not everyone needs an arc. Sometimes people are side characters and they don't have a full arc, and that's okay. This movie refuses.
Looking at you, Marin Stempley, or whatever your names were.
Shepley. Good fucking Lord. Well, and the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, cut this side plot out. It makes no sense. But then we would lose the hilarious cockfighting scenes.
Oh, man.
And B, we would lose 20 minutes of a movie that's barely long enough to be a movie anyway.
And I would dare say the only parts in this movie I laughed.
Oh, yeah.
Like Shepley, as much as he is unnecessary, I loved him.
Oh, my God. The phone calls when he's in the closet.
Paige.
I was screaming.
When the director of Cruel Intentions took like a fake stuffed chicken and shook it and yelled at Shepley through the, like, I don't know what those things are. The
slats.
Yeah, the slats in the fucking closet. I lost my mind.
I have to talk about so much in that scene when we get there. We got to save it for when we get there.
God.
But that's when this movie truly went unhinged.
Honestly, at that point, I laughed at everything except for when his brothers gave them their dead mother's ring.
That was actually very sweet.
I cried so much.
I didn't cry, but it was very sweet.
I cried and was embarrassed because Natalie and I watched this together and she was like, this movie's terrible, right? And I was like, and I'm like over there, like tears streaming down my face. And I'm like, yeah, it's really stupid, I guess.
Can we talk about how the main character of this movie is a predator?
The priest isn't the main character.
What? No, I meant her because she assaults someone in this movie and the last movie.
Yes. I mean, 100% Paige. I feel so bad for Parker, whatever his name was.
Poor Parker. We felt bad for him last time too, even though he was clearly 40 and in this movie is like the same age as his air quotes mom question mark.
I mean, they were there together. I do see they're sleeping in different rooms clearly, but who knows?
It's a little Oedipal. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Well, his mom is also not great because she assaults a server at the spa. Like,
I thought that was going to end up being like her boyfriend or like, you know,
or
like,
something,
yeah.
but no,
It
she
wasn't.
assaulted a stranger.
It was just the guy that worked there. I felt so bad for him.
Yes.
And I was like, man, this movie really objectifies like men, which is something you can't really say a lot.
But it does. No, this movie crosses a line multiple times with the way it allows women to treat men. And you know me, normally I wouldn't be shouting about this, but it's so egregious in this movie that I'm like, it's not okay.
Yeah.
It's not okay.
I mean, it doesn't really bother me because, like, okay, fair. I mean, we did it for, I don't know, 7 decades. It's fine. we can take it for a while. So, like, it's cool. But also, wow, like, you guys are over the top in it.
I mean, here's sure, you know, if you want to go for true equity in which we have done it the same amount, then I guess, but I don't love it. It's still not okay to treat men the way they are treating men in this movie. And it's not okay for anybody. Like, we should just all stop doing it. But like, they take it to
11.
an insane level in this movie to the point where I'm like, oh, this is objectively bad. Like, this is not good. I don't like it.
This movie passes off a legit war crime as a joke. They waterboard the waiter who was just coming to like clean up their room. Sorry, not waiter, but like room service guy.
Yeah, bellhop. This is the worst part is that I rolled through multiple scenarios in this movie that I was like, I guess that could be a war crime. And I was like, it's the waterboarding, wasn't it? Yes. They violate the Geneva Conventions. They violate the consent and physical boundaries of multiple men. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's bad.
Ooga. I hated it.
Oh, God, the ooga.
Yeah, ooga was so weird. Paige, I wrote it in my notes and I was like, ooga, I hated it. Because I didn't like it. It was weird.
I will share an inside joke that Jake and I have around our home.
Go on.
Yeah, and it's not as sexy as you think.
I'll be the judge of that, Paige.
We love I'll say the meme structure of she blanks on my blank till I blank. Like, I don't know if you've seen those memes. Like, she bounces on my thing till I whatever.
Yeah, I played apples to apples or whatever. Like, I get it.
Yeah.
Cards Against Humanity or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's just like particular, and I'm struggling to think of one at the moment, but there's memes where, and it'll be themed where it's like, she discos on my whatever till I ball. Like, it's stupid, right?
Yeah.
But we often put dumb things in the blanks and it makes us laugh. And one day I was working from home. Jake was off that day. And there was a movie on like the classic movie channel called Eegah, Eegah, which is about like a caveman that wakes up and gets sexy with people.
Okay.
As far as I can tell from what I have seen of it. I'm probably missing some stuff. Anyway, Jake was watching it. I walked into the room and I was like, what is this? He's like, it's Eegah. It's this cave guy. And all he could say is Eegah. I was like, so every word in his language is Eegah. And he was like, yeah. And I was like, so like she Eegahs on my Eegah till I Eegah. And then we just laughed about it for 2 years. So when he said Ooga, I was like, she Eegahs on my Eegah till I Eegah. And then texted Jake about it.
Oh my God.
So yeah. It was extra touching for me as we were about to go on our 5-year anniversary. It cost us 6 bacons.
Oh, man. I hope you have an outline.
Barely.
I don't know in which order anything happens. Like, it all seems like it happened the same day.
It's like a Tarantino film.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like, although I do have a question, right?
Uh-huh.
At the beginning of the first movie, they were both just like college students, right?
Yes.
And at the beginning of this movie, they're like on the run from a like gangster who's trying to kill them because they've stolen $187,000 of his money. So they've fallen far, is what you're saying.
Yes. So they're both college students. She is a freshman, I think, or sophomore. She's younger.
They've been together 3 months by the time they get married. So she's definitely not a sophomore yet.
Well, no, but she like entered college later. So I don't know that she was a freshman because she joined at the midpoint, and because she like knew Mare and Mare's roommate was gone, and so like she came at like second semester. So we may be in their summer vacation. Like legitimately time-wise that can work.
That sounds right.
Because she comes into school second semester, she rooms with Mare. Mare and Shepley are already together. They meet and do the circle thing, but it's a while before they're actually air quotes together.
Right.
Because then they also spend that month as roommates where they're not together, which they recap in this. And then they get together after that. And then 3 months after that, they do the thing at Vegas. And it was like finals week, the week that they're doing the stuff in Vegas. From what I remember. They're all supposed to be at Sac State, by the way.
Sac State!
Sac State! Also, shout out to the Sacramento Kings in this movie. So they, I think, are technically on summer vacation.
Hey, you guys remember that summer I got married?
And was on the run from the mob.
Oh, yeah.
In Mexico.
We've all been there, guys.
Here's the other funny thing, and I'll bring this up right as we first start, like, the movie. Do you remember the end of the last movie at all?
I remember them, like, absconding with the money.
Okay. So, in the end of the last movie, he called Shep there, and he fights Chernobyl, which is the best part of that last movie.
Oh, yeah. They allude to that in this.
Guess who's not there?
Shep.
Mare.
Oh.
Mare's not there. And then at the end of this movie, we pick up ostensibly like right where they left off. And in theory, we could be a day or two later and maybe Mare has made her way there by then.
Sure. They flew her out or whatever.
Whatever. But Mare is suddenly there and is like, yeah, I can't believe all the crazy stuff that happened. I was like, bitch, you weren't there. You were not there at the end of the movie.
She is there, Paige. If you check the Hangover photos, you'll see she was in all of them.
Which, yes, but that is just a thing they have reverse engineered for this movie.
Oh, yeah. They reverse engineered it so meticulously, you would think they were covering for a murder they all committed together. Like, it's that sort of, like, level of detail we have to establish an alibi for Mare because her stepdad, who's a little handsy, is missing.
Right.
You know, it's like that kind of vibe.
Yeah. So... yeah, they're playing a little fast and loose is all I'm saying.
Yes, exactly. And like the plot line that I just sort of made up to justify killing somebody, like that wouldn't feel out of place in this movie.
No, that would be completely normal in this film.
Which is insane.
Yeah, this whole movie is. I mean, all of this is nuts.
Yes, and perhaps maybe we should just go through this very nuts movie scene by nutsy scene.
Let's go. Let's
do it.
Go.
Yeah.
We open on what I thought was going to be Wattpad Studios, and then I remembered that this, against all odds, is not a Wattpad movie.
I think that it's just like the guy from Cruel Intentions was like, I want to write the dumbest shit that I think I can get made. And he does get it made.
I'm checking to see if it's based on anything, because I think it might be based... Okay, so it is based on a Wattpad story, but this is not made by Wattpad Studios.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
I get, okay.
Yeah. It's like when Sony makes Spider-Man movies and Marvel doesn't.
Right.
Got it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, not a Wattpad movie from what we can tell, although based on Wattpad Studios. We open with a narrator, which is not a thing that happened in the first movie.
It is not.
We're already breaking convention in the sequel. And it's a narrator with a voice that we don't recognize. We will find out later who it is. It is inexplicable why they chose that, but I'm glad they did. Anyway.
I certainly don't hate that character. He is probably, and I mean this, the best actor out of all of them.
Incredible. Yes. Yeah. Now, we open on them having a marriage counseling session with Father Miguel, who looks roughly the same age as them. And we will see Father Miguel shirtless, thank you, later in this film. And at multiple points, I was having 365 nacho flashbacks. And I was like, I choose Miguel. Like, nothing against you, Travis, but like Miguel, though.
Paige, that's Nacho Priest. He is not interested.
He's a priest in training. And I was like, there's still time. There's still time.
What's he training in, guys? Let's figure that out.
Jiu-jitsu.
I don't think they have a jiu-jitsu, like, monastic order inside the priesthood or whatever.
Make it happen, Catholics.
Let's do
go.
it.
Let's fucking go. Get Russell Crowe in on that shit.
I had to learn Krav Maga to get the Aaronic priesthood.
Oh.
That's not, Paige. Don't ever assume I'm not making a joke when I say shit like that. Please.
Oh, I assumed. I've seen you try to do physical activities, but it was still fun to think about.
Yeah.
So the narrator's like, we're in Los Gatitos, Mexico. And I was like, I thought we ended in Vegas, but fine. Okay.
Cool. Yeah.
Cool. They're going through marriage counseling and they're like, well, I think I'm mad because this happened and this happened and this happened. And they're listing out all these things that we have not seen that are going to happen in this movie.
Yes.
And I do love that as they're arguing with each other, one of the nuns pops out of the window and is just like, Silencio! Like, stop yelling! And they're like, Silencio, sister! Like, shut up, nun! And I was like, what is happening? We've been thrown into a blender.
We have been. And they're just like pulling together premises to build scenes around it, like out of that blender. It's crazy.
It's nuts. But soon to be Father Miguel, Daddy Miguel.
Ooh, Papa Miguel.
Papi. Yes.
All right, we got there. Papi, let's go with it.
Aye, Papi. He's like, well, tell me about how you fell in love. And they're like, okay. And the movie's like, we know what you want. Here's a recap of the last movie.
Yes.
and it's like 6 days earlier. And then it recaps the previous movie that we watched that is also absent from my memory. It's like one of those things where, like, you know, in a sci-fi movie where they're like, someone's wiped the files. I was like, yeah, files not present.
Paige, I was so grateful.
Same.
For a recap. I was like, oh, thank you for this.
Yeah.
I appreciate this 10-minute recap. Pause. It's only been 4 minutes. Like this is that moment.
Yeah.
After this recap, I was like, oh, the time warp has begun.
Well, and they do a great job of highlighting the only the craziest things you would remember from that film.
Oh, yeah.
So like the fights, the assault in the film that he's like, yeah, you gave me a hand job. I'm like, again, you were not awake. There's consent issues.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on. We're abducted by gangsters.
It's fine.
Like,
it's fine. The first movie liked it so much it does it again to a different victim in this one.
Hate it. And also they can... I know this is a weird... You know what? I'm going to save it for that scene and bring it up then. But I have a weird complaint that I complained about last time. And I'll complain about it again this time. But when we get there. Anyway, then they were like, we had money and we ran away to Mexico. And now we're here, but we're not happy. And that's why we're talking to you. And he's like, okay, well, that's a lot of information to digest in 4 minutes. Let's start with your wedding night. And they're like, okay, cool. So we were super drunk. And then we woke up in Vegas and we like cut to this. And he wakes up in bed with Shepley to the point where I'm like, are they a thing? But then I've forgotten that they were cousins.
Yeah, Paige, they are a thing. I do. I believe that they are a thing. They're just on the low.
Yeah.
And weird, but okay. It's a weird choice for this movie to be. I don't really think they are, but they're like really like handsy and touchy with each other. And I don't mean just in this scene, because I think the scene's trying to play it like they're asleep enough to not know that they're kissing on their cousin. Like they're not
No
preferred.
one sleeps that hard.
Right, but they're awake enough to like come on to somebody.
I don't know. I don't like it.
Like I would notice if it was like my cousin Rick, I was like kissing on in bed.
Well, and there's multiple points in this movie where they kind of hint at it or play with it. And I'm like, this is an unusual interaction for people who are not involved in some way, right? Like,
you're like, who is this for?
yeah, who is this for? And I'm like, I don't consider myself to be overly conservative when it comes to the way that men and women interact within friendships or same-sex friendships or whatever.
Sure,
I feel like I'm pretty freewheeling with it. But even I was like,
I mean, at one point, he takes a drink of water and one of them mimes giving the other one a blowjob and he spits in his face.
That's right.
So, like, I don't know what that's trying to say when that's your cousin. Like, I mean, it's only weird to me because it's your cousin.
I mean, yeah.
And also, you're hiding this proclivity.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I don't think you should have to do that, but like...
Oh, well... When I forgot that they were cousins, because that is a thing in the last movie, and I did forget they were cousins.
Yeah.
Which also means that Travis's grandmother died, and we haven't talked about it at all in this movie.
Oh, shit, yeah. Oh, my God.
We'll get there. Table it.
And that's when the writer-director was like, how do I get out of this scene? Oh, yeah, stuffed chicken through the slats in the door.
Table it.
Yeah.
So I had forgotten they were cousins, and I was like, oh, is this movie going to be real brave? And this is the ending couple?
Paige, yeah.
Like, are they going to completely flip the script? And then he was like, cuz, and I was like, oh, that's right. Oh, no. First cousins, too. Mm-mm. Anyway, Mare wakes up. She's in the other room. Everyone's awake. And then they have, I don't know where they got all of these, like a SIM card full of photos from some photographer that followed them all night, and they put it in on the TV. Like, there's no explanation for how they're watching the slideshow. It just starts, and they all just stop and watch it.
I know. The funny thing is, like, who's running the slideshow? Like, they all sit down like they're just watching it. They're like, oh, shit. It's a good thing we put all of our photos on loop on the TV before we passed out last night so that we could come into this PowerPoint presentation about everything we did.
I mean, well, and like our wedding photographer gave us like a jump drive and a little like tablet thing that it's like a frame. Great. But like you have to set it up so that all the photos are on there and that they loop so that you could put it on your TV or something, which is not something that happens immediately. Like it takes time, but like apparently someone did it and set up their TV settings. So in the morning, they're just like,
while blackout drunk.
I mean, it makes more sense in The Hangover where it's like actual, like tangible photos.
Yes.
But in this, they're just like, what a review. Which there's an easy way to solve this problem, by the way, is if one of them picked up a phone and was like, oh God, I think I know what happened, cast to TV. And then they were swiping through the photos on their phone.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay.
Which I think is maybe what they were going for, but it is not communicated within the scene. And so it just looks like someone was like, great, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to get to Mexico.
Apparently, because they're literally on the run from the big bad of the first movie.
Right. And this is how we find out that they got married. They find the marriage certificate and they got married by Elvis, a Vegas classic. And they're like, okay, well, what do we do now? Well, thankfully, the mob calls them at exactly the right time and is like, hey, you owe us $180K because of the last movie. And they're like, why don't you go fuck yourself? And they're like, we're the mob.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, well, we're 19, so like YOLO or whatever. Like,
yeah,
it's insane.
We're 19 and we have a ton of extra money because apparently she gambled the night before and no one caught her. And then room service or like the bellhop knocks on the front door and they think he has a gun, which we will find out is like, I think a vacuum cleaner or part of a vacuum cleaner.
I think it's like an attachment for a vacuum cleaner that he also had in his hand, but like they assault and beat the shit out of him.
And waterboard him.
They literally waterboard this guy. So like he drops all that.
Yeah, he drops all that. And they're like, cut to helicopter to Mexico.
Yeah.
No information in between.
And it's like a drill sergeant vibe. He's like, listen up, bootlickers. I ain't taking nobody nowhere until you. And he's like really yelling at them. And they're like, okay.
Okay. But how much is this going to cost? He's like, $10,000. They're like, all right.
Yeah, it's easy. We got this. So they like get up and start to fly or whatever. And then Shep and Mare, whose real name is America, correct?
Yes, America from the last movie. She goes by Mare.
Yeah. They get up and go bang in the bathroom of the helicopter?
Thank you. Let's fucking talk about this. Helicopters don't have that much extra room. This is not like an Apache. Like, this is not like a war helicopter. Like, this isn't like SEAL Team 6's helicopter. This is like a tourism helicopter where you basically got like cockpit and seats. And that's basically it.
Well, she definitely got some cockpit, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, like they just go, I guess, to the other side of like passenger cabin. I don't know what you'd call it.
What other part? There is no other part. Like,
that's my point. They just go further into the corner and plow?
No, in the movie, it shows that they like go through a door to another part of the helicopter. And I'm like,
okay,
I don't think that part of a helicopter exists.
Yeah. Okay. So this is just like made up.
Yeah.
Like I know for a fact when she shows the pro and con list that she supposedly writes while he falls asleep right after this, just, you know, as they're flying to Mexico or whatever, that they were just fucking around with everything in this movie because she was supposed to have just scribbled that out. And it's in like 5 colors done in like calligraphy and shit.
Yeah, like she had crayons.
Yeah, but like it's in like really nice printed cursive. Anyway, I was like, oh, this movie's just fucking around. Like, it's just like having a good time. So I don't care anymore. Let's just play, movie. Take me on the wildest ride you can imagine. And Paige, they did. They fucking took me on a ride.
They did, and yet none of it makes sense, and they do not care.
No.
They don't care.
Why would we?
They're not here for your nonsense of things that should make sense.
No, this movie's just fucking around. Get on board.
It's just fucking around. But, so, they make it to Mexico. Mid-flight, Mayor and Shepley essentially... Well, and it's not the Mile High Club if it's a helicopter. They don't fly that high.
I think they just mean like having sex.
I know.
Like while you're like flying or whatever. Like an eagle. Like a majestic eagle banging it out as it falls to the ground.
Call it the Eagle High Club then. Because, like, you're not that high.
Honestly, Eagle High Club sounds way cooler.
Eagle High Club does sound cooler, but every time you tell people you have to do the, like, eagle cry afterwards that I can't do, but yes.
Yo, dog, she got up on this.
Exactly.
Nailed it.
Exactly.
Nailed it.
Yeah. She freedomed on my beak till I squawked.
Oh, man, are we just writing the rap verse right now, Paige?
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's what's up. She egot on my egot till I egot. So
Now we're just mumble rappers.
now we're just mumble rappers. So she on the plane. Oh, this is another Todd. I couldn't wait to bring this up. I have it in my notes. Okay. Wattpad, notorious for people opening their computers and having full Wi-Fi in moving vehicles without any ability to access. It's not a plane where they have Wi-Fi. You're in a fucking helicopter. She's got full Airbnb up. She's like, I'm DMing the guy who owns this villa on my laptop that I just have open and not plugged into anything. And I couldn't even hotspot with my phone at this point because I'm in a fucking helicopter.
Yeah, you're flying over the Gulf of Mexico.
And I want to be clear. I know that like news helicopters and stuff probably have capabilities of things that...
I mean, satellite data transmission exists, yes. But yeah, you're right. This is just some random tourist helicopter thing. Yeah.
And she's reading articles and one just says, young bride goes berserk on honeymoon. And it's fully a Word document.
I didn't realize it was a Word document. That's hilarious.
It's just a photo and Times New Roman in different sizes on what is very much a Word document.
The attention to detail on this. Love it.
I was like, oh my God, the movie just started. Anyway, I just have in my notes that Wattpad doesn't understand laptops, even though this is technically not really Wattpad. I mean, it is, but it isn't.
It's by the same production company that brought us The Hurt Locker, Paige. Can you believe that shit?
I can, because Travis's heart is the real Hurt Locker. Anyway, we get a fun Fantasy Island callback with a little child being like, the plane! And then her dad's like, that's a helicopter, you dumb bitch.
Wow.
It's small. Like, I know you're small because you're a child, but like, what? Anyway, they land and the guy's like, hey, just let me know when you want me to come pick you up. Also, I do hostages and rescues, so I'll see you whenever we do that Sandra Bullock movie. And so they like go into the villa and there is a full mariachi band there that I believe also lives at the villa. They never leave. They show up constantly.
They can't wait to ruin your sexy times with their mariachi music.
I love it so much.
You should.
The comedic timing of the mariachi band, unmatched. Completely perfect for the rest of this movie. And their host, Sancho, introduces himself via song. And I was like, is this about to be better than the last movie? Like, what is even happening?
Paige, a defiant yes, I would yell from the crowd. Yes, this is way better than that movie. And I think that this movie abides by what I have always called the Mariachi Paradox. And that is, the taller your mariachi member, the smaller the guitar. Say I'm wrong. Say I'm wrong, Paige. It's always the 5'4" guy with the 5'5" guitar. You know what I'm saying? It's always that. Paige, I don't think I've ever seen you lose it like this. Oh my God.
Because it's so true. Why is it so true? No, the last time. So I saw a mariachi band recently at like a very fancy event.
I'm sure it happens. I'm sure it happens out there way more. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I run into mariachi bands probably once a month.
Yeah.
But like they were fantastic.
Of course.
But one of them was about my height and had a guitar that seemed twice as large as a normal guitar. And I remember even at the time being like, I don't even know how their arms.
I know.
And then the super tall one had like a tiny fiddle. I was like, what is oh God.
Have I never talked about my college research thesis on the Mariachi Paradox page?
No, and what a stunning observation. Oh, I'm sorry. That just broke me. Oh, God. Oh, I'll never be able to see a mariachi band again without thinking about that. Oh, Lord. Oh, my God. I love mariachi music. I think it's very cool.
You know, the thing is, the mariachi band, and this is actually playing, they capture a lot of sound live from them, and you hear like the mistakes and all, and it's not like they're bad mistakes, but you hear like a little bit of a crack between notes or whatever from the trumpet player, and I sort of liked it.
It's great.
I was like, oh, this is awesome. But they're actually a really good mariachi band.
Well, and they're clearly a real mariachi band because of that you catching them live, but that means even when they're playing live in scenes for comedic effect, they're fucking crushing it.
Yes. They do one shot of the trumpet player. I can't remember what scene it's in, but it looks like when he's in the wide shot and you see the whole mariachi band, he's like fresh and feeling it.
Yeah.
By the time they got to his close-up, it looks like he's had the longest fucking day and he just can't wait to get home.
God.
Because he'd probably been playing that like 90 times over the past 5 hours. He's over it.
At one time, at one point, well, we're about to get to it in a scene, but they end up playing. They have to play La Cucaracha, and I was like, I bet they had to play that for hours.
Yes.
Terrible.
I think that may be the one where you see it, yeah.
Yeah, the last mariachi band I saw was playing corridos, and it was beautiful. But again, giant guitar, small person, small instrument, tallest member. That burned into my brain.
Whenever I see a mariachi band, I just yell, play ya ding dong! Paige, I should not have yelled that while you were trying to take a drink.
I think you mean ha ha ding dong.
Wow. Okay.
Sorry.
Love
Sorry,
that.
that's it.
That's amazing.
That is a Facebook typed laugh joke.
Yes.
Oh God, why are the guitars so sabido gigante?
Tell me I'm wrong about that.
You're not. That's why it's so funny.
Guys, I really do want the listeners to weigh in about the Mariachi Paradox.
Oh God. Oh man. Todd, you know when someone says something and it ruins a thing for you every other time you see it for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
That just happened to me.
I hope it just makes you smile every time you see great mariachi music and doesn't make you hate mariachi, because I love mariachi music. But yeah.
I could never hate mariachi music, but I'm never going to be able to stop thinking about this.
I know. It's crazy.
Oh boy.
Explaining football to the friend who's just there for the nachos? Hard. Tailgating from home like a pro with snacks and drinks everyone will love? An easy win. And with Instacart helping deliver the snack time MVPs to your door, you're ready for the game in as fast as 30 minutes. So you never miss a play or lose your seat on the couch or have to go head-to-head for the last chicken wing. Shop Game Day Faves on Instacart and enjoy $0 delivery fees on your first 3 grocery orders. Offer valid for a limited time. Other fees and terms apply.
Credit Karma makes building your credit straightforward and stress-free with help from our credit builder. Sign up today at creditkarma.com and start enhancing your financial health. Credit Karma, your partner in building a brighter financial future. Credit Builder plan is serviced by Credit Karma Credit Builder and requires a line of credit and savings account provided by Cross River Bank, member FDIC.
Anyway, I love Sancho already. Great character addition. And I also love that he, America tries to introduce herself as America multiple times, and they just call her Miss United States for the entire movie. Where it's like, Señorita Estados Unidos. I was just like, yes. Great runner. But as they're all kind of finding their room, we do out the back see a shirtless Miguel that she stops and looks at.
Yeah.
And I was like, hello.
I was like, ma'am, you're married.
Nacho, nice to meet you. Yeah, I wonder if Travis has a weird twin that we're going to meet and then there's going to be a kidnapping. It would have fit in this movie. It wouldn't have even been weird.
It would not have. It would have been the most basic thing that happened in the movie.
Oh, God. And Sancho sings the tour of the villa to them.
Yes.
To let them know that they do have ESPN, but also SVU. And I assume he means Law and Order SVU.
I assume so as well, yeah.
With so many flower petals. There's like more flower petals than there are seeds in that La Llorona movie. Like
tons.
it's so many flower petals.
Yeah, and they bought all of those at Marshall's. Like they're 100% cloth flower petals.
They bought the entire Party City's worth
yes.
of fabric flower lays.
Yeah.
And then just dumped them all over this whole villa. Oh my God. Anyway, Travis breaks off, carries her over the threshold into their room where they have like their name in flower petals, or rather their initials in flower petals on the bed. TNA. Great.
Love it.
Love it. She makes him take a handful of selfies with it, fun. And then he like magicians with glassware, like the flower petals off the bed, where he's just like, froomph. And then there's like a rain of flower petals everywhere.
I just want to point out that it's the opposite of magicians with glassware. If a magician just came up and just like whipped the tablecloth and broke all of the glasses, like, you can call me a magician, Paige, because that's what I would do.
Okay, but how much funnier would it have been if he had done the blanket?
That's a fucking Mighty Python sketch right there. Like, I don't know that it is, but that is, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, but like, how much funnier would it have been if the petals had stayed? I would have laughed so hard.
They like float up and he yanks the blanket out and they fall back down into TNA.
They fall back down into place. And here's the thing. Him just yanking that blanket and the flowers going everywhere still made me laugh because it was just chaos.
Yeah.
But like, if they had stayed in place, that would have been incredible.
But instead we get him going ooga a lot.
Yeah, he oogas on her ooga till she ooga.
They actually sort of, I guess, mutually No, they're like helping each other out, I guess. And they're like,
yeah, they're helping each other out. Mutual masturbation.
During that, they're having the conversation about like the pull-out method, or like, do you have a condom or whatever?
Right, because they don't have any condoms.
Yeah. You know, but they start to like really get into it.
Yeah, they do. And they're both working on their portions of a group project. And good for them.
I think they're actually giving each other a hand at that point. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Group, it's a collective effort.
Yes.
But they then are like, this is not enough. Let's do it. And they start to have penetrative sex. And the movie felt like we needed cartoons in this moment.
Paige, I loved this part so much. Because this is the moment where I was like, oh no, we are just fucking around. Let's go. I can't wait.
Yeah, I should not expect anything else to make sense.
No.
This is a fever dream. They're still in Vegas, passed out on the floor of that hotel room. And this is the dream that we're living.
Paige, may I remind you that this is the film studio that brought us the Steven Seagal movie, The Keeper. By the way, that movie also came out the same year as Hurt Locker. So like sometimes production companies hit and sometimes they miss.
What is a locker if not a keeper?
Oh man. So The Keeper is the second in that series. The first one is The Trapper.
Is that why he made the siege first, so he could trap then keep? Anyway, enough about seagulls. So they decide that they're going to attempt the pull-out method, and the little cartoon guy is here to illustrate how many inches are in play.
Well, yeah, because she's like, give me an inch. And he's like, I can give you an inch.
Yeah.
And then she asks for another inch and he obliges. And every time he gives more inches, you see more on the cartoon dick or whatever.
Yeah.
And then she requests the full pipe. And so that's what we see on the screen.
Yeah, I would also bring up that this goes full Showgirls immediately.
Yes.
Because she locks her ankles around him and is like slamming him into her.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is she's like kicking him in the back.
Yes.
Like it's not like she's like pulling him into her. She is physically assaulting him.
I mean, I feel like he's into it.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a consensual thing, but
I mean, we've all been there. I've had bruises on my back for sure.
but yeah, like she is, if they were in a pool, it'd be Showgirls.
If they were in a pool, it'd be a wave pool.
Yeah.
Like she is really pulling him in.
Yeah. And then pushes him off and is like, go get a condom.
Well, yeah, because like...
Yeah, Shepley might have one, and he's
Yes.
like, okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
He goes out into the hallway, where we skipped over, as they're starting to get down to business, the mariachi band appears at their window.
Oh, yes.
To play La Cucaracha, and they close the curtains. But now, as he's running out into the hallway, who should show up but the 3 little girls with the flower petals and the mariachi band.
They've got the second half of La Cucaracha to play for you now.
Of course. And your chips and salsa should be out and your fajitas will be here momentarily. But he runs into Shepley in the hallway who's like, do you have a condom? And this is where I had forgotten that the first movie established that Mare and Shepley have like a sub-dom relationship that is not openly discussed in the film, but just shown through their outfits.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's a fair assessment, maybe.
Yep. But there seem to be no condoms anywhere. So we cut out to the pool later that evening where Sancho has set up dinner for them.
For the record, the guy who plays Sancho is like a very well-versed actor. Like he was in Scarface. Did you recognize him?
I did, but I couldn't place him. I was like, I know I've seen him before.
He plays Manny in Scarface. He's like his right-hand man, kind of.
Anyway. He's prepared a 7-course dinner for them.
Yeah.
And I love her dress in this scene. Gorgeous. Well done.
Natalie said the same thing. She was like, that dress is amazing.
That dress is incredible on her. It's the perfect cut, the perfect shape, the perfect size. Nailed it. So she then, during this dinner, presents him with this essentially drawing that she made on the helicopter flight that's like, should we get an annulment or not? And they don't really talk about it enough in this scene of why he doesn't want it and she does, because I think when he talks about it later, I was like, that actually makes sense. I still think that at 19, when you have an oopsie Vegas marriage, you should get it annulled.
Yeah, but
just to avoid the paperwork later even.
But his whole argument, which I can kind of see, even though I disagree with,
right,
is that I still want to at least like be in a relationship with you. And I don't know of anyone who's like come back from being married, like through annulment and ended up together. So like, maybe we just like give it a shot.
Yeah. But as someone who is married, and hey, you're married now too, basically.
Yeah. Last recording until I get married, guys. Hello.
Yeah. There's a whole lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
And if you want to get divorced, it's like way more paperwork. But an annulment, not quite as much paperwork. No equitable division of the assets, just we oopsies.
Yeah.
So like if an annulment is a possibility for you, you know.
Yeah, exercise that option maybe. I mean, I understood where he was coming from. I disagreed with the advice.
100.
Like I would give the opposite advice.
Agreed.
But like I understood his point of view. Yeah.
Yeah. And she does say like, oh, I gave you 30 points for having a giant dick. And I was like, oh, I forgot that Sweet Life was packing like that. But we did establish that in the last movie.
They actually give you the size of it in this movie. Because I don't know if you saw that dick.
On the cartoon.
Like it has like an inch ruler on it.
It does.
And I think it was just north of 7 inches.
Right, which is above average. Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Anyway, he gets a text from Shepley, who I'm going to say at this point, Shepley's a bad friend for doing this. But Shepley's like, we forgot about the time difference. The game we want to watch on ESPN is on right now. You got to come see it. And it's insane to me that Trevor is like, I'm going to mess up my like honeymoon dinner to go find out a playoff score for a game. That's really stupid.
Yeah, I don't understand the impulse to watch men compete with each other versus having a sexy dinner and like potentially sexy evening with someone I'm super into and is my wife.
Yeah.
You know what I'm never going to do is like run and like slap my friend on the ass and try and hide the fact that I'm watching a basketball game. I don't know. It just seems like such a weird thing.
Is it basketball or hockey?
What was the team?
It's the Sacramento Kings, but I think...
Oh, that's hockey then.
No, because the LA Kings is hockey.
Oh, okay. Then maybe it is basketball.
So I think Sacramento Kings is basketball. I'm just verifying right now. Because there's 2 Kings teams.
Who knows?
Yes. And yesterday, they just lost to the Warriors.
Yeah, fuck all monarchies. I don't care. Does Sacramento know that they are under a monarchic rule from the Kings?
I don't know.
I don't understand sports. Is that what's happening? I don't know where you get your names. Thank you.
That's exactly what's happening. And I think maybe that's why he felt pressured to watch the game. He's like, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. The king needs my fealty. So maybe that's why.
It's gotta be.
Anyway, we do find out that he was about to lose $1,000 because they were down. Now, this actually makes more sense to me if they were down by 12 and quickly made those points up. Because I was like, first of all, someone scored 12 in hockey. Then I was like, once they went back to, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, basketball. That makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, if you're scoring 12 in hockey, you're like in the wrong league or something. You're like way too good.
Yeah. Anyway, he's pretending that he's not feeling good and he's like going back and forth. But then she walks in and finds them as they're miming, blowing each other, etc., and pretending to look sick and all kinds of stuff. And she walks in on it and it's not good. Now, Sancho, the narrator, comes back and he's like, he knew he had messed up, so he planned the happiest 2 days. So they like play in the ocean. We see their feet in the sheets, which I'm like, they still don't have condoms, so do they just wing it? But then later they said they haven't been able to have sex because of the condom situation. And so I'm like, what were they doing in the sheets other than, I guess, group projects?
Paige, I think the shot you're referring to is 1,000% a Shutterstock clip I could buy for $79.99.
I think so too.
I think I found it. Like it is so not their feet.
Yeah.
It's like an inserted shot to add 5 seconds of runtime because it was a too short movie.
Yes, we see them on a boat getting dancing lessons. They're kissing in the pool. And we see like an animated like fuel gauge almost that's like green. Things are going well.
Yes. Well, that's like the pro-con list, right? That she wrote on a literal scroll of paper that was tied in a ribbon on a helicopter as they were fleeing from the mob.
Yeah.
This movie is just fucking around, guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, like, yeah, it was all, it's like a visual representation of that.
Yep. Cut 2. There's a rainy storm hurricane situation outside. And so they have a Pier 1 Imports amount of candles in this house. And I love that they play like hookah with Twister and charades and karaoke.
Yeah.
But eventually they get to like, they're doing like Never Have I Ever. Oh no, they're like talking about movies and she's like, yeah, I want to move to Paris someday. And he's like, well, how am I supposed to pursue criminal justice living in Paris? I was like, well, Paris also has crime. Like, I mean, crime is everywhere, man.
Yeah, like that's like the one job you can get pretty much anywhere if you're a class traitor, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But also like the French invented like fingerprinting and like a lot of like investigative techniques.
Yeah.
Like they're not like amateurs at this. Anyway, whatever. It's dumb.
Yeah. Poirot, maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah. The most famous detective only pretentious people have heard of.
Yeah. Hercule Poirot.
Definitely not a man's man like Sherlock Holmes. You know what I'm saying?
I mean,
I want my detectives to have crippling addictions.
My favorite currently is Benoit Blanc, and I know he's new to the game, but I'm having fun with him in every movie.
I prefer Benoit Ball.
Too bad they don't have condoms or anything to help them out with some Benoit balls in this movie. Now, they play Never Have I Ever, and Sancho reveals that he has joined the Mile High Club because she says it almost accusatory to like get Mayor and Shepley out or whatever. But then Travis is like, oh yeah, is it Travis or Trevor? It's Travis, right?
Who?
This movie fell out of my brain. The Sprouse.
Oh, Travis Maddox is the Sprouse. Yeah, Travis.
Yes. Okay. So Travis reveals that he has also consummated some relationships while in flight. And she is like offended and leaves and is like, I can't believe you. And I was like, you asked. And she was like, we don't know each other at all. I was like, yeah, you've only known each other for like 3 months. And also you're a teenager.
Yeah.
Like, also, if someone were to reveal something to me, like if I found out today that Jake had sex on an airplane, I would not be mad about that, but I would be like, so how are we going to have sex on an airplane?
Let's figure that shit out, right?
Let's figure that shit out.
Yeah. So I got a plan.
Okay.
We're going to hire a helicopter. Like that would be nobody's idea of whatever. It's terrible. I can't believe it did it in this movie. Anyway.
There is a thing where you can hire a Cessna specifically to join the Mile High Club.
I think you mean the Cessna 6969.
Like a G69. No, that is my plan someday, to be famous enough to be on a private plane and then achieve my goal of the Mile High Club. Heads up.
That sounds like a good time.
Right?
I have been on a private plane, but I did not want to sleep with any member that was on board.
Missed opportunity.
But as I got on the plane, 2 dogs ran by me, also got on the plane and went right to their seats. And it was the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen.
They knew which seats were theirs?
They fly all the time. And I was like, I was like, these dogs have a way better life than I do, and I'm middle class. Like firmly middle class.
Oof, that is wild.
HCA is a different level of wealth, man. Like
Yeah.
the Frisk family is wealthy.
Insane.
Yeah.
But this is where they actually have a good conversation where he's like, look, we'll try Paris. We'll figure it out
Yeah.
because we'll figure it out together.
We'll try Paris. We'll try France. Let me pull off your underpants.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Come on now.
It's our honeymoon.
Yeah.
Speaking as someone on my honeymoon, as this episode comes out,
You're not really worried about it.
this will be the week after we get back because we've had to record
Yeah.
so many episodes back to back.
Right.
But yeah, gotta have one in the pipe to edit. You gotta have it. You gotta keep
Yeah,
those trains
yep.
running, baby. Gotta keep that content train a moving.
For editing lead time.
Yep.
But this is where he's like, I don't know any couples that have survived an annulment, so I don't want to get one. Right.
Right.
Which to me makes sense. You know, I understand the argument. I don't agree with the advice, like you said.
I mean, to me, it's very much the advice a possibly 20, 21-year-old like kid would give you.
Yeah.
But I understood how he got there.
Yeah.
I think it's the wrong call, but whatever.
Yeah.
It's your life.
Yeah, he's like, have you ever had shower sex? And she's like, or have you ever had pool sex? And she's like, is it like shower sex? And he's like, yeah, in the same way that it's prettier in movies, basically.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, do you have a condom? And he's like, no. And so she's like, then no raincoat. We're not doing it.
Can I point something out about this scene, Paige?
Uh-huh.
Because she leaves the scene before this, the never have I ever had sex on a plane thing. She like, I'm going to go for a walk. And it was raining.
Yeah.
It cuts to her immediately, not walking, but in a pool, not raining.
Where it's not raining.
So in the time she walked out of there and he like followed after her, she like got in the pool and it stopped raining and her hair was not wet. So it didn't just stop. I like got way too, I paused it. I rewound it a few times. I was like, oh no, he does go right after her. This is insane. What is happening in this movie?
Oh, the movie, it doesn't even understand a basic concept of screenwriting causality.
Right.
It has no, like, scene to scene, the rules change.
Yeah.
Every day. It's madness. But thank you to our narrator.
I mean, Shepley farts on Travis's face really aggressively in the Twister scene.
Yeah.
This movie's just fucking around, guys.
Yeah. This movie is like an SNL sketch that lasts an hour and a half.
Okay, yes. And I do feel like there are little meta jokes that the writer is like telling himself through the screen that like we're not supposed to get. Like I feel like it's that sort of writing where he's just like, this is the craziest shit I could think of.
Yeah, 100%. Like this very next scene where thank you to the narrator is like the worst is next to come. The next morning, she's up and learning how to juggle with Miguel.
Yes.
In a tank top. Thank you.
Paige, okay.
What? Miguel is gorgeous.
No, that's not what I'm saying, but the man is juggling. And as someone who can juggle, never have I ever used that to get me laid. You know what I'm saying?
Depends on what you're juggling. I mean, if you're juggling them Benoit balls.
Ooh, baby, watch out. No, I was just juggling regular balls and any other object I could find in a threes, but never once has it gotten me laid. Although, I'll say this, I may have missed my calling with the Ren Fair, and then that probably would have gone differently.
I think you're right, honestly.
Yeah.
But then you would have been in a giant polycule if any of the documentaries are to be believed.
And they should be, but they seem happy, so like,
Vaya con Dios.
yeah, enjoy your life.
Yeah. Anyway, Travis gets up and grabs a bunch of grapes and bites into them like an apple.
Yeah, the dude's an idiot. He's like spitting out like whole grapes because
Stems.
he also
Like
has
full
stems in his
stems.
mouth. Yeah, like the first time he spits, it's like 3 grapes and like 9 stems.
It was nuts. And then he just drops his towel, revealing his allegedly giant dong. And Miguel just goes, orale. And I was like, oh God, what? Well, I mean, what would you even say to that other than I think this is workplace harassment?
I don't know that it is a workplace harassment. Does the future father work there?
It's unclear in this film.
He's just a passerby who's juggling for a loose woman. I don't mean loose as in like promiscuous. I mean like she's just out and about. She's just like wandering. Like where do you belong, ma'am? Like what is happening?
He seems to do Sancho's bidding around, and we know that that house used to be his house. So I was like, is he employed there? I don't know.
I don't know either.
And she says worker, because in the next scene, she's like, oh, nice, you just showed your whole dick to the worker. And he's like, well, you seemed interested in juggling balls, so.
I wanted to show you mine.
Right.
It's weird.
We cut cut to, it's weird. They're all going to go to the beach and Mare is running away from Shep.
Also, if they're going to say he has a gigantic dong, it's going to have to be more than 7.2 inches or whatever, right?
I mean, given his height and weight ratio, I feel like if you go way too much bigger, he might start passing out anytime he gets an erection.
But the way they talk about it, it needs to be like Dirk Diggler levels. Like this is a movie where like the most insane shit happens.
Right. That's fair. That's fair. I'm not going to argue with it. I mean, I do remember that in the last movie when she gave him the cat hand job, when she assaulted him and pretended to be a cat.
That's in this movie.
That's also in this movie.
Yeah.
It was also in the original.
Yeah, no, I know that this movie series has a bit where it assaults men as a joke. Yes.
Then we'll get to my notes for both. I mean, first of all, it's an assault both times. It's bad both times.
Yes.
But on top of that, they're using a prosthetic, clearly so, and that prosthetic is 10 to 12 inches both times.
It's gotta be.
It's a nonsense size.
Yeah, it is like you may not sit right for a week size.
And I am aware that people with those sizes exist. I have seen adult documentary films, if you want to call it that, pornographies. But like, it's not super common for that to happen. I don't care who you are.
You ever run across that in the wild page? Like,
personally, no.
Yeah.
Like, not at all. But like, I know it exists. I know there are people rocking that level of meat. But like, it's weird that it's everyone she encounters on accident.
Paige, she's a real size queen.
Yeah, apparently. But anyway, they're walking to the beach and she's like, I don't like that you're this possessive. Like, men are going to touch me throughout my life at some degree. Like,
and she doesn't even mean like sexually. Like,
just in passing.
He's so possessive, like men looking at her on the topless beach. Like, he just like beats the shit out of them, which is...
It is a great fight scene.
Wow.
An animated fight scene, too. I was like, wow, they really went in on the cartoons for this second one.
Paige, this movie's just fucking around and it's having fun. And I love that scene, but it's like, that's a huge red flag. Like, if someone actually did that.
Right. Well, and I mean, because the whole reason she takes her top off at all is because they walk up to two women on the beach.
Yeah.
And he asks them, she asks them a question. They're like, we don't speak English. But they immediately zero in on him because he speaks Spanish and drop their tops for him, which is like an insane level of forward in general.
Man, if that happened to me on a beach, I'd be like, oh shit, I didn't realize this is a nude beach. I am not where I should be. I apologize. I'm going to walk my ass back to the resort.
I mean, yeah.
But instead he's like, well, my wife was just learning how to juggle, so I'm going to fuck around with these topless ladies.
Yeah.
Like, it was such a gross escalation from what she was doing.
Right.
Because, like, we come to find out that dude is, like, not into women. He's going to be a priest.
We find out he's a priest. We don't know
Right.
what his proclivities would be, but it doesn't matter.
I think it's fair to make an assumption that, like, I don't even mean like the pedophilia stuff, but like he's not pursuing a relationship with anything other than his religion.
Yes.
I don't mean it as like a sexual thing. I mean like he might be a heterosexual person, but he's not looking for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we don't know that yet at this point in the movie.
Sure.
But yes.
Yeah. He imprinted on Jesus as a baby in Nazareth. Like, that's his vibe.
I gotta, my schedule's been so crazy that I haven't been able.
Mine too. I know. We gotta get Jackie on. I know.
I gotta figure out how to get Jackie on. So she's like, oh, it's a nude beach and you don't have a problem with this? Yeah, so you shouldn't have a problem with me just taking my top off and going on the nude beach. But no, we get a cartoon, like, full-on fight. And honestly, pretty fun. They call security. They're about to basically get arrested.
I mean, they do get arrested.
They do get arrested.
Yeah.
They end up in separate cells.
Although I'll say this, Abby did nothing wrong here. All she did was like take her top off on a topless beach.
She punches a lady.
And then, oh, that's right. No, I'll take her to jail.
Yeah, she gets into the fight.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, I know. But meanwhile, back in Vegas, Bobby is with his boyfriend Darius and is like, give me 5 more minutes. I just got to figure out business stuff. But he's clearly ignoring Darius's needs in favor of his job. And he's like, oh, they're in Gatito? Like, I know where that is. That's where Darius and I fell in love. and we've been meaning to go back, so we'll just both go back. And then he like turns and Darius is driving away and just gives him the finger. And I was like, no, Darius!
I understood why Darius was doing that.
We just met him and we're so sad. Yes.
I got it, though. I was like, good for you, Darius.
Yeah.
He didn't think about your very romantic, like, where you fell in love and making that a trip until work was going to take him there.
That's right.
And then he was like, well, we may as well just tack on the romance stuff. Darius, you deserve better. You take that Ferrari and get out of there. Or Corvette or whatever it was.
That's right, Darius.
I've always been too poor to be a car guy, so I'm sorry I don't know what that is.
I just need it to run.
Yeah.
I got a flat tire yesterday, or I guess 2 days ago, had to have a tire replaced. And then today went out to my car and it would not start. And so I immediately had to have a battery replaced because that's how we're getting to the airport tomorrow.
Yeah.
And as they like popped the hood to look at the battery, they were like, when was the last time you changed your battery? And I was like, shrug. The last time I had to?
Yeah.
That's the last time. And they were like, okay. And then had to like pry it out of my car because of the corrosion.
That happens.
It was not good. But now our car runs. Thank you.
That's great.
Anyway, Sancho comes and bails them out of jail with Miguel's help. But they don't want to, they get in a fight. They don't want to leave together. So she goes off with Miguel to cool off. He goes back to the villa. And I do like that even in a scene where I think they're trying to kind of play it both ways of like Miguel is attractive and maybe he's an option, but nothing sexual happens during that time. And it's a lot of like, they get to know each other as friends. And then he's like, by the way, I'm a priest and we're going to church. Like, see ya. And so she at no point cheats on him. Nothing happens.
Literally nothing happens. I mean, and nothing happened when they were like juggling either. He was just like in like a tight shirt showing her how to juggle.
Yeah. But this is where we find out that it was his house.
Yeah.
And this actually takes a really kind of a long time during the movie, this cutting between the two of them. And we don't need to spend this much time on it.
No, we don't.
But we do because we end up spending a lot of time with Travis and Mare talking and finding out that Shepley is like spying on her. We never fully figure out why Mare and Shepley are fighting other than she doesn't like him hunting. But that's something that he's like, I'm not hiding it. I have it on my, I hunt. Like, this is a thing. And that seems to be the source of their fight.
Yeah, I think it was like, and this is just because of the dialogue in the movie and it's crazy, that he was talking about hunting a baby pterodactyl and like putting that on his mantle.
Which are extinct, by the way.
Right. I thought that they were playing that just because like, oh, Shipley's dumb or whatever, like making that joke.
Yeah.
But like this, I think, causes her to be like, oh, wait, he actually is a hunter. And like for my moral set, like I don't like that. I don't want to be with someone like that. So I think she starts to distance herself from Shipley. And he is a much more anxious attachment style, right? So like he doesn't respond well to that. So like the spying on them when it's just her and Travis talking and stuff, even though there's nothing going on, and he's like getting advice more or less from her about his relationship, he still like shows sort of jealous tendencies. But I mean, like, who cares? Like Travis, Shipley's an idiot.
Yeah.
Like this whole movie is just fucking around. Like
it's fully dumb.
Yeah.
But this is where she gets back to the villa. She and Travis talk. A new hottie has entered the villa. She and Travis talk, and they're kind of in sync. They're like, "I'm sorry, I got jealous. I'm sorry, I did whatever." And he's like, but I would like to have like a bachelor party because I know we didn't plan to get married, but like that's something I've always wanted to do with my brothers because remember we met the brothers in the last movie. Great.
Yeah.
Everyone comes down to Mexico. And who should also be there but Bobby, who seems to be more concerned with finding Darius than finding Abby, but he's still there.
Yeah. I think he's starting to see what's really important in life.
Yeah.
Although he does stay very fixated on taking fingers wherever he goes.
Yeah. I mean, hey, who doesn't love a good fingering, right?
I mean, you can get the mob out of the man, but you can't get the man out of the mob. You know what I'm saying?
I think he just wants them for some satisfaction on the go.
Who doesn't need that?
Anyway, they get down to Mexico. Everyone's there. We cut to Mare and Mare and Shepley have like another fight that's weird. But Mare and Abby go for their spa treatments.
Yeah.
Now, on the beach, all the beach girlies are after the brothers. Great. We're at the spa, and this is where they meet this older woman who is like, oh, you are on your honeymoon with like a dude, and like she kind of gets the whole story, and so she assaults a server to get margaritas.
Yeah, and it works.
Well, and he literally says, he's like, please stop. Like, he actively is like, this is not okay, please stop it. And she's like, shut the fuck up.
It's also definitely not the first time she's done that. Like,
Yeah.
he knows this woman. He's like, this is a nightmare again. I hate this. I'm definitely quitting.
Ugh.
Like, I hate this lady.
Well, and it's this whole section of with her is so weird because she's like, yeah, I run women's retreats, but even for poor people like you. And so they like hang out with her all day, and it's just odd. Meanwhile, the dudes end up at this like lucha festival where they see cockfighting, and Shepley's like into it until he sees the first rooster die. And when they carried that rooster covered by some sort of like sheet
Yes.
in front of people I lost my mind. I laughed so hard.
Yeah, it's more or less like a I think you should leave sketch. Like, it's so cringy, uncomfortable. It's funny.
Yeah, it feels like the fancier version would be in I Think You Should Leave. This almost felt like SNL to me, as you would have like a Rachel Dratch like
Yes.
wander by and look at the camera as she did it. Like, that's the level. And Shepley cries over it. We cut to a luchador fight, where it's like a little tiny girl. And I do want to call out one thing, though.
Call it out.
Mare and Abby come into the fight and sit down next to a woman in a hot pink suit, like a tuxedo, like a suit. And then she has like a glittery turquoise bustier under it. And that woman, whoever she be, looks incredible. That outfit is fantastic. I want it. It was great. And then we only see that lady like one other time again. But anyway, so it's this little Thumbelina, tiny luchador girl that has her own song.
Yeah.
About how she fucks people up.
Yep.
And against all reasoning, Abby agrees to go fight her. Now, this is weird because they end up at this festival and then they end up back at the spa.
Yeah, they take a break from the spa to go wrestle a child.
Right, just because they thought it would be funny. Because she ends up wrestling that child, and then the little girl fucks her up, and Travis has to come in and be like, hey, she favors this one knee.
Yeah.
Sweep the leg.
Which is like, okay, yes, more or less that's what she does. But this child is maybe 12 and she's an adult woman. Like, she could have just kicked her to the chest once or twice and that kid would have been done.
Okay, so I have an alternate theory.
Tell me.
We never see Thumbelina with the mask off. I think potentially instead of this being a child.
So you're saying we never cared who Thumbelina was until she put on the mask page?
I am saying that. But I'm thinking this might be an adult little person fighting as a character that is a child.
That is definitely the actor playing that, yes.
Oh, I meant like within the luchador thing as well.
could
Like that
be.
this
Yeah,
is an
I don't
adult
know.
luchador pretending to be a child.
It could be.
Anyway, meanwhile, she does beat her and everyone, yay.
But this is how she gets into the cat costume, which becomes important as she's assaulting the man later.
But we cut back to the beach and the party that has showed up at the villa for his bachelorette party because all the brothers are like, you're married, we're not. We gonna be on these titties.
And they're like, but don't fuck anybody because Abby's our sister now and we'll kill you.
yeah, good for them. Good brothers.
I know. I was like, okay, nice. Well done, guys.
Well done. We cut to Shepley, who, as he's like standing outside trying to compose himself, another guy walks by with another dead chicken, like, my son, my chicken son. And he's just like,
Dude.
no.
In this scene is when I was like, okay, I love Shepley because he's like yelling. Like the guy who was like, took his rooster to the cockfight and was like crying over it being dead is like on the ground with it. And Shepley's on the ground, like yelling, like in agony. And then he like looks at him. He's like, you did this. You killed your son. And I just like, I knew this movie was fucking around and I was just here for the ride of it all.
Well, because then Shepley steals an entire truck full of fighting chickens and brings them back to the villa that they do not own, that they are just renting for this time period, and lets them all loose in one room. And we'll get back to that momentarily.
Oh man, this whole shit was so funny to me.
Well, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we cut to the girls have gone back to the spa or to that lady's house. It's unclear. It looks like the spa. And they're just drunk at the spa being like, but I love him. Do I love him? I don't know. Just drunk girl nonsense, right? We cut back to Shepley, who lets out Champion and Dr. Death are the name of the first two roosters that he lets out.
Yep.
And inevitably all the other roosters get out too. But he's like, you guys could be friends. Here's food. And he's like, oh no, I didn't realize they were trained killers. And he gets trapped into a closet. Now, my favorite part about this is that as the roosters are all roostering, first of all, we get a cutout to the hallway of someone who's like, what? Yeah, I'm an exchange student, where they just clearly the music is so loud they can't hear the roosters.
Yeah.
And the door shuts. And then we hear rooster noises and cat noises.
Uh-huh.
No explanation.
I think Shapley's making the cat noises.
I think you're right.
But he jumps into the closet, and it's like the chickens are actual killers that he's having to hide from.
It's like a fight club.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not like they're cockfighting or whatever you call it. Like they're actively trying to kill humans.
Yes. Yeah.
And he has to hide in the closet from them. That's the way they play it for the rest of the time. The chickens are important.
Yeah.
And it really just stops being important at some point, and he walks out of this room like not shit happened.
We have to talk about what happens when he walks out of the room. We'll talk about it in a bit,
okay.
but like, yeah. We cut to Bobby, the mobster, calling to see if Darius made his flight, and it turns out Darius cashed his ticket in, and is no longer going to be in a relationship with Bobby, unfortunately.
No, he deserves better.
Yeah, but we cut back to the closet where Shepley is trapped, and his phone is out in the rest of the room, and he screams for help, and the phone picks up. I assume because a chicken stepped on it or something, but he hears his mom leaving a voicemail and is like, hey, Shep, it's Mom. I'm at hospice with Granny, and we're about to pull the plug, but she just wanted to say one thing to you before she dies.
And then she's like, Shepley, I just want you to know that I'm... And then the most fucked up thing in the movie happens.
Is that a rooster lays an egg.
Oh, no.
Oh.
A rooster threw an egg at the cell phone.
Why is there an egg ever? They're all roosters.
Why is that rooster killing a chicken like that? Well, I guess that would be considered an abortion. I don't know exactly what it would be if you're a rooster doing that, but I guess it's called scramble.
Todd, only roosters cockfight.
I know.
Where'd the egg come from?
Why did he throw it, Paige? That could be his child.
There should be no eggs. There's no one to produce an egg.
I get it.
Unless they went to the kitchen.
This is the age-old debate as to what came first, the egg or the throw, and I don't know.
I don't know.
It has to have been the egg.
I don't know.
But I don't know where they got the egg either, Paige.
Yeah. I was just like, but the roosters, what's happening? Anyway, meanwhile, out at the pool, the two girls from earlier kind of hit on Travis, and he's like, that's nice, but no thank you. I'm going to leave.
Yeah.
And so they steal his phone, and who should unfortunately FaceTime him but Abby, and they flash the FaceTime while Abby is trying to talk to him.
And they're also making sounds that make it sound like they might be like having sex, or it might be leading that way. So like they're really putting it on. Like I got why she thought he was cheating on her.
Sure.
This is a shitty thing to do.
It is. But also they're going to crash at that one weird lady's house. And she's like, if I was a gambler, I wouldn't bet on your marriage lasting. And we just see Abby be like, I am a gambler. Because we all forgot about her poker.
I mean, this movie kind of did too.
Yeah. Well, and they're going to sleep on like a cot outside the guest room, because who's in the guest room but her son? She's like, it's my son, Parker. He's a doctor. And she's like, Parker Hayes? Flashback, it's the 40-year-old guy she dated in the first movie that Travis scared away.
Yeah.
And she's like, ha 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 ha. Methinks I have an answer to what just happened with the FaceTime. And so she climbs in while Parker is sleeping and tries to take selfies next to him as if they are in sexual congress.
But like she can't get him to pose in a way for her photo, so she like just hits him a bunch.
Yeah, it's not good. And I don't know how he doesn't wake up in this, but whatever.
I mean, how doesn't anyone do any? Yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, Shep wakes up. And he wakes up at one point in the middle of the night, and this is where he's like, is someone out there? Because he hears the door open, and it's a rooster through the slat,
yes,
implying that the rooster opened the door.
Yes, Paige. This movie's insane.
Yeah, the next morning, we see the roosters outside because they have now just taken over the villa, and they all have the blades on the back of their feet. So they're like dangerous roosters.
Yeah.
But he poops on one of the mariachi members, and that's very sad.
Yeah.
But then Shep wakes up, and the room is destroyed.
Yeah.
But there's writing all over the wall making fun of him. And I was like, did the roosters write on the wall?
Yes.
And that's definitely what the movie suggests.
Yes. Those roosters were actual killers, and they know how to write in English. And Paige,
That's so crazy.
that suggests those chickens are bilingual. And that's insane.
Yeah, because it's in English.
Because we're in Mexico. Those are Mexican chickens.
Oh, no notes. Not a single note.
But Paige, if you had a note, those chickens could read it in both English and Spanish.
They could read it in both English and Spanish. Meanwhile, Travis turns on Find My Phone and walks over to the wellness resort, which seems to be like just up a path.
It's just up the street. Yeah, it's close.
Yeah. But then we cut to her in bed with Parker, like she fell asleep or passed out there. And then she wakes up and does the full on kitty cat assault thing again, which is awful. And Parker's like growling back in his sleep. And I was like, I hate all of this. I hate all of this, but who should show up? But Travis. And he's like, Abby, what are you doing here? She's like, I was trying to get a selfie because, you and the other girls. And suddenly, did you notice that Parker seemed to suddenly be British?
I did. I don't know why.
I don't either. He wasn't British last time.
I mean, I don't think he was, I don't know. I mean, he was just barking like a dog because he was getting a hand job. And here's what I think is dark. He's staying at his mom's place and he woke up getting a hand job and didn't immediately freak out.
Yeah, because like who else would be there and who else would it be?
Right?
Yeah. There's a lot of darkness in this scene.
Oof.
But also we cut to them with Miguel having marriage counseling and we explain the FaceTime. She's like, I believe you. I believe that your phone got stolen and all this stuff. And he's like, great. But like, it seems like only one of us is fighting for this. I feel like you didn't give me a fighting chance with the annulment. And I think you're worth fighting for. So like, can we do this? And she's like, no. And she leaves.
Yeah.
And he goes back with his brothers. Meanwhile, like she meets up with Mare, who has this like, I fell so hard for Shepley, but I don't know who he really is, and he's not right for me. And you're like, none of that was really on the screen. Your fight never made sense, really.
I wonder if we just like a lot of it hit the cutting room floor or like whatever.
Something.
It doesn't really make sense.
We find that Bobby is still looking for Darius, but Darius is not there. But Abby sees Bobby and follows him.
Yeah.
They end up mud fighting, and he had a painting for Darius, but Darius isn't there, and their whole situation is messed up.
Yeah.
And they have a moment of like, I'm sorry. Let's let bygones be bygones. Keep the $180,000. I'm sorry I messed up your relationship with your dad in Toledo, whatever. And she's like, well, I'm sorry about Darius. And she's like, well, I'm about to be a 19-year-old divorcee. And he's like, no, Travis loves you. Remember, he beat up like 4 of my henchmen. You got to stay with him. And she's like, you're right.
I do have to stay with him.
I do have to stay with him for the movie. We cut back to the villa where Travis's brothers are all like, hey, we really like her. You have to fight for her. Let's go find her. But then she just conveniently shows up.
Yeah.
And they kiss, even though they're covered in mud, and I hate it. But then they have a real wedding, and then at the like reception, the brothers give her their mom's ring because they're like, you're our sister now.
It's so sweet. I cried
Very
so hard.
sweet.
It made me feel so like, I don't know. I just cried really hard. It was very cute. Very sweet.
It's the one earnest part of this movie.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Travis talks to Shepley and he's like, I'll leave her in a second if we weren't cousins. And I was like, that's a weird thing to say.
Right. There's like a whole undertone of like homoerotic incest in this movie that like, I just wondered who it was for.
I don't know. But then Mare comes back and she and Shepley get back together for why? I don't know.
But why do they even break up? So like, this makes just as much sense as that.
Right. And then we get a shot of Sancho and Bobby, who I think are going to be a couple after this, and good for them.
Oh yeah. The whole like them on the balcony overlooking the like vista or whatever.
They're on like the beach, I think, or whatever.
Yeah. They're like overlooking the, I don't know, sunset views or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't know, I've never tried Mexican. And I was like, that's a weird way to say you've never dated a Spanish or Mexican guy.
Yeah.
And then Sancho's like, I think you'd be into it. And I was like, love that as a response though.
Yeah. How do you feel about tortillas, cheese, and meat?
I love all of those things. Yeah.
I love all those things too. Anyway, she then is like, okay, maybe I will take your last name, but I want expensive towels. Great. We're not going to get an annulment. Till death do us part. Adios, amigos. And that's the movie. There is a post-credit scene, but it's just a blooper.
Oh, yeah. Okay. But having seen the movie, having talked about the movie, what did you think about A Beautiful Disaster?
Oh, it's a beautiful wedding. It's a beautiful wedding.
That's right.
A beautiful wedding because they hang out at the villa.
Oh, man.
Is this a movie?
Yes.
Technically.
I chimed in with, haven't you people ever heard of writing a goddamn script?
No.
Like, I want to say, Paige, Once I realized the movie was fucking around, I was like here for it. Up until I realized that, I was like, this is a bad movie. Which surprised me because this is the same people that brought us Dallas Buyers Club.
I love that you're just pulling their filmography.
Paige, it took everything for me not to mention SEAL Team 6, the raid on Osama bin Laden, which they also produced.
Oh, God. Oof, magoof.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is bonkers. This is a bonkers movie. And most of it doesn't make sense. It seems like they came up with a handful of gags and were like, how do we get from one to the next? And that's all that happened. But within that, there are some truly funny parts, like all the shit with Shepley and the chickens.
Yeah.
Gold. It makes no sense. But I was laughing the whole time.
Yeah, it was great.
And I still can't believe they brought back the kitty cat thing. I hate that. I hate that so much.
Oh, you mean the kitty cat assault?
Yeah. But yeah, I guess those are my thoughts.
Yeah, I liked it, but I only liked it after I realized they were fucking around, and I'll never watch this again on purpose. It's like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's a movie that made me glad that like this weird thing that we do was a part of my life because I got to watch this movie and sort of like be like, oh my God, I get to talk about this with a baked in best friend who like is required to talk about how stupid this movie is. And so like I got really excited that I had like a 2 a.m. Waffle House best friend conversation in my future. So like that's what made me watch this movie. I would say if you watch this movie and you're like, all right, take me on a romantic wild ride, this is not the movie for you at all.
Right.
You know, this is not Big, which is also not a romantic movie where an assault takes place.
Oh shit, that's right. Yeah, it's no boot camp.
No, Boot Camp is way better than this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Paige, do you have any fun facts for us?
Very few.
Well, hit us with your fun facts.
This
your
movie,
few fun facts. Yeah.
This movie ranks among the few sequels or franchises covered by How Did This Get Made?
What? Okay.
Yep. It got an episode just a few months ago in August.
No shit. Okay.
Because they previously covered Beautiful Disaster and have started to cover the Afters movies as well.
Nice. Okay.
So the other franchises that they've delved into is now After, 50 Shades, and Fast and Furious. This is based on a novel. And the novel is the sequel to the novel that Beautiful Disaster was based on. And those are, I believe, Wattpad produced novels from what I can find online. And those are your fun facts.
Well, thank you for those fun facts, Paige. Let's talk a little bit about box office. And when I say a little bit, I mean truly a little bit. Because guess what, Paige? You cannot find a budget for this movie anywhere online.
Yep.
And it wasn't released in theaters domestically. It was, however, released internationally. But, and I'm just going to tell you, it only brought in $180,000, $432,000 of that coming from Russia. So, there you go. But that is your box office. There's not a lot to this. I mean, this movie did come out this year. It hit streaming in the U.S., I think in the middle of the year, but it hit various theaters internationally at the beginning of this year up through I think the latest release was in July. But it did not get a domestic release. But that's your box office. Paige, do you want to hit us with that romance scale?
Our romance scale is a scale of 1 to 4 because Mikey said so. Todd, how romantic did you find this movie?
I mean, not at all. Like, this movie is a movie where the people who are married at the end of it should not be together at all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 1 on the romance scale. I will, however, give it maybe a 2 on the roar scale because, you know what? No, there really isn't much sexiness. There is a lot of wannabe Top Gun sexuality for the ladies, but it didn't do it for me.
Yeah.
Where they're playing that smack a ball into a ball trampoline on the beach game. That was hanging with the boys from Top Gun, right? That's what that was.
Right. Yes. Playing with the boys.
But that was that's for you. That's not for me.
No.
So it's a 1. I'm not going to give it a 2 for that.
Yeah. No, this is definitely a 1 because we didn't even really get any hot sexy scenes really in this one. At least in the first one, we got some fun sexy times and they ruined that hotel room. Yeah, so I'm going to give this a 1. Do you think they're still together?
I mean, the end of the movie suggests that they are, but no, I desperately hope they're not.
Correct.
Hey, everybody, this is Future Todd breaking in here, and I just needed to break in to let you know when we recorded Beautiful Wedding, a lot of things were happening all at once. I was about to leave to get married. Paige was about to leave to go do our 5-year anniversary trip to Hawaii. I had a bunch of stuff going on at work, and so did she. So we were like doing the best we could to like record. So everyone had episodes when they expected them, even though we got to take a week off. That being said, we had not yet decided what movie we would be doing when we got back. So I'm literally recording this 3 hours before the Beautiful Wedding episode drops, guys. And we just recorded a banger of an episode on Halloween 5 that's going to come out Monday. So look out for that if you're a horror virgin listener. But next week, we are going to make you watch a movie. And this is largely because the episode will come out on Halloween, guys. We are going to make you watch a movie that Paige has wanted to do for a while and is horror related. We're going to make you watch Lisa Frankenstein for next week. So your homework is to watch Lisa Frankenstein and then report back for that episode.
So Todd, do you have any reviews for us?
You know what I do? In fact, I'm going to start with a Spotify comment. And this Spotify comment came in from today's episode. And just so you guys kind of get a stamp on how early we had to record all these episodes, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again just came out today.
Today's episode. Yeah.
Like literally just came out today. And honestly got a bunch of comments. But I'm going to read Louise's comment on our Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again episode. And she says, "Not me having just finished the episode, now trying to decide if I need to listen to the Cher album." I'm assuming it's the ABBA covers Cher album.
It is. And I do own it and have listened to it now.
Me too. Or the Eurovision album, which is the episode that comes out next.
Yes.
That we recorded like a week ago.
I forgot to buy that.
Yeah. But Louise, I got some good news for you. You can listen to both of them and they both slap. But if you want me to read one of your 5-star reviews or Spotify comments, leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify comment, and we will do just that. So yeah, if you guys like this show and want to hear our other show where we talk about horror movies, that is The Horror Virgin. That's the only other podcast I am on, but Paige is also on Cult Podcast, which you can find at Cult Podcast. And you can find us on social media. I am at Todd J. Awesome, literally everywhere. Paige is at Paige Wesley on Instagram.
No, it's at Rampage Wesley on Instagram and TikTok, at Paige Wesley on Twitter.
That's right. All right. So that's where you can find Paige. If you want to find the show, we are at Romancing the Pod Show, right?
Yep. Romancing Pod Show on Twitter.
Well, and Instagram, right?
And Instagram, but it's show SHO because character limits. If you start typing Romancing the Pod, it'll come up.
It'll definitely come up on Instagram. I don't know about Twitter because I haven't posted on Twitter in a hot ass minute. So like, who knows? But that is where you can find more of us. So yeah, guys, give us a follow. Support the show any way you can. We'd love it.
Smash that like button.
Hell yeah.
And that's going to be it for us, you guys. I'm Paige.
And I'm Todd.
And you complete us.
To completion. Bye. The Mariachi Paradox is the only true paradox, nerds.
La 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 la.